I'm so glad you could join me today. Today, we'll be doing a nice little, well, I don't even know where I'm going with this painting. I have no idea. I just woke up from a nap, so I'm still kind of trying to think of something. And you'll be able to join along my process of me just being out of the zone and just putting a painting on picture. And it's actually good, so you could distress yourself. Whether it's just to watch my videos, just to relax, or whether it's to actually paint along with me and learn a song. Now, let me run the colors across the screen that you'll need to paint along with me. They'll be in the same order as they are on my palette. Some I have extra colors like Indian yellow, I believe, but those colors we won't use, so I won't run it. I'm only going to run the colors you need. I don't want you using more colors. But you could use more colors, obviously, if you want to. So, while we're doing that, I have this good old canvas, pre-stretched double prime, and I haven't done anything to it. I have my medium to the side in a cup, and I thought we could just get straight into it with the painting. So I'm gonna grab a regular 2-inch brush and just dip it into some medium, a little bit more. You don't want too much medium because then it'll thin out the paint too much. You want just a little amount of your medium to thin out your paint. So here's some phthalo blue, and I'm gonna add a little bit of white just to sort of tune it out a bit. And I'm gonna get that brush with the oil, the medium. I use linseed oil, which is a good artist quality oil, which acts like a medium. Now, I thought today we could just get not a regular sky, but a regular sky. Like the imagery on the sky looking a bit more crazy than a regular one. So make sure to tap your brush. You have that paint out. You tap it both sides into the brush to ensure an even distribution. And just put it on. It doesn't really matter. I hope you guys are having a good day today. And I hope everything goes in your favor today. I forgot to record this and at a earlier time, and so I'm here filming it not when the sun's out, but it's okay because you guys can see it and I can still work. So that's the most important part. It doesn't matter. Doesn't really matter to me what time I'm filming, as long as I have that content for you guys. Tap both sides of the brush. You want an even distribution of paint on your brush. And I'm gonna just leave some of those holes where there's no paint. So just get crazy in there and just go like so. I feel as if lots of people are intimidated to start a painting, but once you start it, it becomes less intimidating. Some like to argue that my paintings come out the way they do since the materials I use, the expensive mediums, expensive brushes and all that. But I started off with nothing, and at times I'll use cheap brushes. I'll use stuff that's not my usual, just to sort of never, how should I say it? Never forget how to use the cheap stuff, because At times, for certain things, it can become a challenge, but it's never impossible. And I feel like people just get scared and they stop when it starts getting hard. I say challenge it, bring it on. So I'm just gonna put in some water. I think there's gonna be some water here. But you can make up the painting you want. I'm just suggesting and I'm just showing you how I do it. You guys take it on. And I'm putting quite the pressure in the brush just to get that paint in there. Just moving it across to get that paint. And maybe I want this to be darker. I don't want it too light. So you could just add a bit more of pure phthalo blue and it'll darken up the color for you. Just like so. And just like so, we have a sky with some water. Now, I'm gonna grab a clean, dry, and 2-inch brush, and I'm gonna blend out the sky. So just with X marks, blend it out a bit. You could blend it to the degree you want to. You don't have to blend it completely. You don't have to blend at all sometimes. You just want to remove the brush strokes. It's completely okay. I just want to move this like so. Now, I think there lives a cloud up in the sky. So I'm gonna grab a 1-inch, pull it one direction, as you can see. Let's come up here. Keep that brush moving. Don't let that brush stop. Because once you start working in one place, then it becomes like a big old cotton ball in the sky. You want that brush constantly moving in order to make it look like a cloud. Okay? Now I'm going to use the brush that I blend the color with. Just beat it to take off the excess paint. And with the corner of the brush, just the base of the cloud, just go in circles. Just go in circles. Lift upwards. And go across. And just like that, you have a nice sky, nice cloud. Now, let's say you want it more to stand out more. You can go over with more white, and it'll usually stand out more. Sometimes it takes multiple times. Sometimes it's not the first go where you get it. But practice makes perfect. And I don't want to say with 100% practice you can do it. No, because sometimes it actually does depend on your paint. Sometimes it does depend on your canvas. But I don't want to lie to you guys. I want to be honest and open about it. Some artists say, nope, it's just pure practice. And others say, nope, it's just what material you use. It's not just those two. It's the in-between. You have to have practice, but you also have to, at times, have good paints or good materials. It's an investment. Okay, now I'm going to use some mountain mixture. Pull it out as flat as I can get it. And I'm going to cut a roll with my palette knife. Hopefully you could see that nice little roll of paint. Let it focus. Alright, let's come up here. Let's do a mountain. I'm a big fan of painting mountains. I very much enjoy it. And I like to do it since I don't get to see lots of mountains. I don't live nearby an area where there's much mountains. So it helps to build my imagination. Okay, you can make how many peaks you want in your mountain. But if you're beginning, I'd suggest, I'm not saying what you have to do, but I would suggest you do less mountain peaks because the more it gets a bit harder. I've been doing this for, I like to say, 2 years, maybe 3. I lost track at this point. But at times it still is difficult, and that's with my experience. So I suggest it still looks nice with little amount of peaks. You don't have to worry about it. You just have to get on canvas. Now, I'm just scratching off the extra paint, and you could probably hear how hard I'm scratching that paint. With the 2-inch, I'm just gonna grab and pull that paint. Since the paint below was thinned out with the oil, you could still move it. You can still move this paint to a degree. So I'm just grabbing, you point the tip to the end of your mountain and just pull down. And the reason why we do this, it creates 2 things. One, at the bottom, it creates an illusion of mist, and it helps you make it think that the mountain is far away and you're just looking at it, or pollution and all that. 2, the reason why we do it is because it allows us to, when we add our highlights, it allows us to have a thin, even layer. You don't want one spots with more paint than others. You can just go like so. Now, let's go ahead. Let me clean my palette knife. Let me pick up some white. And it has a little bit of that blue, but I don't mind. I think it actually benefits it. Let's cut a roll. There we go. You could probably see it on the knife. Let's come up here and let's decide where your highlights belong. No pressure whatsoever. The handle is floating. This palette knife is floating. The more pressure you put, the less paint breaks you're gonna get. And you want those paint breaks. Those paint breaks make it look like a mountain. Just let it glide off. Look at that. The less paint you have, the easier it is. And it's good to practice having a light hand with no pressure. Because with this, lots of people struggle for 2 reasons, and 2 reasons mainly. Either their paint is too runny, it's too oily, it's not firm, it's not dry. And secondly, because too much pressure. When you put your finger on the blade of the knife, it's adding pressure, which you would think it's not, but it does. You want to avoid doing that. And sometimes people struggle because they have both things wrong. They're putting too much pressure, and they're we gotta put some snow in the back. Too much pressure, and they have paints that aren't the same. There's still some expensive paint where it's expensive and it's runny. It depends on what style painting you're looking for. Alright, some mountain mixture in white, a little bit of phthalo blue, just to make it some degree of blue. Let me add a bit more white. Ooh, that's gorgeous. Cut a roll. As you can see on my palette knife. Let's come up here. Same thing with the highlights, but you're just pulling it in the other direction. Or direction. However you guys say it. Add more blue to this. And a bit more white. I'm just putting a little bit of mountain mixture just to sort of dull it. I don't want this bright blue. Not everyone likes that bright blue, but not everyone likes it dark. So it's up to you. It's all up to you. But all you're doing is you're doing the same thing. No pressure, but you're just pulling it the other direction. If you guys wanted to, you can make the highlights come this side. It's all up to the person that's painting. Maybe this one covers that peak in the distance. And you could always come back and change up some of your highlights. Maybe right here. Maybe these two come together. Maybe like so. And maybe I want to assert my highlight more. See, if only I could make hour-long videos, or maybe even an hour and a half, I feel like I could show you guys everything in one session. But to keep you guys entertained, I keep it down to about half an hour. I'm not gonna say just half an hour, because sometimes I go overboard. But I try to keep it in the half-hour range. Now, come up here, tap the base. Following the angles of your mountain. Just to create some mist. And you can just blend the base only. You don't want to blend too much. And you can lift up a bit. And just like so, you have your good old mountain. Your good old friend. Now, I pull out my paint and I tap it into the brush. Just like so. And let's come up here. And I think there's a foothill that lives there. But leave some of that mist. That mist will show you where the mountain began and all that. I think it comes back up here. There we go. And you can just scrub it in. It doesn't matter at this point. You only care about that outside edge. And you can pull up, directly up. Let me move sides. Directly up to make it look like there's lots of little distant trees. Those distant trees will push everything back a bit more. Okay, just lift up a bit. And just have that base underneath. Okay, now let me pull out more mountain mixture. I forgot how quick and easier it is to have the colors right out. I use lots of dark colors, so having mountain mixture sure does help a lot. So all I'm doing is just applying that paint on. Just scrubbing it on. Maybe comes out like so. Just scrub it on, get it all on. Heck, you could even put the paint with the paint roller. Wouldn't matter. Now, I think with a little bit of cadmium yellow, you pull out that paint and you tap it into the bristles. Pull out a bit. People tend to go into the pile. Just pull out from the corner and just tap it. And since we use mountain mixture, it'll turn cadmium yellow into a nice green color. Okay, now you decide where your land lives and where's the end of your foothills. There it is for me. You gotta make these big decisions in your painting. A little bit more cadmium yellow. Gotta constantly load up these brushes. Just load up your paint. Load it up with paint and just fire away. Now, sometimes it's good to look at it from afar. Not all the time it's good to be close up, but sometimes it helps. I think the top needs a little highlight. And then maybe over here we could change it. There's no saying we can't change it. I chose to change it last minute. Okay, maybe here it goes, and maybe this one stops here. Something like so. Make up these ideas. These ideas will help you build your imagination. Now, I'm going to go into some mountain mixture. Pull down. The reason why I went into some mountain mixture was to have that paint a bit more darker. I don't want just pure highlights. Thus is the reason why I went to a little bit of mountain mixture. But I'm going to go over with cadmium yellow to give it that extra look. So now with some cadmium yellow loaded up in my brush, pull down. Just lightly. Oof. Gentle touch. And just pull straight down. Now, you're gonna grab it, go across. Very gentle. Be gentle with it. Treat it like your good old friend. Now, I'm gonna go into a little bit of, that's gonna blend in. We're gonna have to mix up a brown. Now, I'm gonna go into some phthalo blue, cadmium yellow. Then I'm gonna go into a little bit of crimson. I want this dark brown color. I want it more to the reddish side. I'm just mixing the color up. Down, it's taking up quite the red. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Now, cut a roll. Get that nice darkness. You'll see it on canvas either way. I try to show you, but the light is too bright. So all I'm doing is just putting in that dark color. Then I'm gonna highlight that color. Just pull it out. Like so. You make it up on the spot. Okay? Now, with that brown color, add some white, and that's your highlight. Now, let's come up here. Light touch. Just give it that light touch. Touch and slide, and that's it. You don't really need much. You can make some of that dirt come down a bit more than what you had. Remember, there's no rules. You can change it. You can make it the way you want to. Lots of artists, to have their freedom of painting whatever they want to, usually won't accept commissions because commission paintings take away that freedom, which I don't blame them. At times, I want to just sell what I have. So some titanium white, and I'm just sliding against it. Just like so. Now, I'm gonna go ahead, use the blending brush to put the base color. That's why it's recommended to have two brushes, and I will always recommend that. The reason being, not to make you guys spend more money, but if you have, let's say, this beautiful green color, you're gonna have to clean that brush, and all that good paint that's on that brush goes to waste. So I rather people buy maybe like another brush for maybe $20 more, but it's well worth it in my when I suggest it, it's well worth it. I have like 5 to 7 brushes of each. I have a lot of brushes. I've spent a lot of money. So I don't want too much medium on this. I just want to thin it out to a degree. Just move that paint. Just like so. And a bit more here. Okay, now this is where you use your other brush and you don't waste that good paint. I was just making sure it was loaded just right. Now, lots of people hate painting grass going that way, but I like to think of it when I'm painting it like it's going this way. It's a good way to kind of trick your mind. And the paint blends in with that dark color, so it gets darker towards down here and lighter at the top. Usually I'm not a big fan of painting grass this way as well, but sometimes it looks really nice and I feel like I have to do it. I hold myself accountable. I hope you guys liked the second part of the live stream I did, my last live stream. That one shows you how you can change up your painting once it's dried up and everything. That's like almost like a behind the scenes. There we go. And leave some of that dark color. That dark color is your friend. Some people, they get overjoyed that this is working and they hide all that dark color. The dark is your friend. Leave it. Enjoy it. Now, my heart just dropped right now. There was a cat with that's black and white. That was a skunk. Since I paint outdoors, and I've seen skunks around here, so my heart dropped until I saw it was a good old cat. I was like, oh, okay. So if you see my hand maybe a bit more shaky, my heart dropped. Oh my god. Maybe there's a little rock. Maybe it's not that little. I was gonna make it little, but my palette knife ruined it. Just like so. And just with this, you could have a completed painting and you could call it done. But I'm gonna add on a few little details that I don't want you guys missing out on. So I'm gonna grab a fan brush, number 6, load it up into mountain mixture. Make sure it has lots of paint in there. Look how much paint there is. Now let's come up here. Decide where your tree lives. I think it lives, the top point is there. Okay, load up your brush a bit more. Have your brush slanted down or slanted up, depending what type of tree you want. I put it down to have the leaves look like they're coming down. I think I'll suit this painting. Okay. Just by tapping with the corner of your fan brush, you can create this nice little evergreen tree. The same brush, I'm going to cadmium yellow. But first, before I forget, I'm going to put in a nice little tree trunk. Needs a little tree trunk to be supported on. It's a good old friend. And with the cadmium yellow, just think like you're just redoing the tree. Usually you don't want evergreens to be too bright. That's why I don't highlight them too much. Sometimes I'll over highlight them and I'll notice afterwards. So I don't want the same mistake for you. So I'm letting you know. But it's up to you at the end of the day. It's your painting. Well, okay. Last thing, I promise. With the fan brush, I'm gonna go into some white, and maybe there's just a little, like some water falling down. Just by slide down. That's all you're doing. Sliding and pulling down. And you can blend out the base. Just like so. Well, I think that's it for today's painting. Today's painting was out of the blue, and I certainly enjoyed doing it for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I know it was a bit rushed, well, at least for me, but I hope you guys get to enjoy this, and I hope you try it one day. I've seen people leave comments that they like the way I share the technique, they like the way I do it, and I'm grateful. I really thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. And now, what would make me feel complete is seeing people do my paintings. So I put that challenge out for anyone. I'll still be making videos though. But until then, I like to wish each and every one of you the best of luck with this. I know it's a little intimidating at first, but you got this. I believe in you. Until then, goodbye, my friend.